thank you again for inviting me and allowing me to have a wonderful tour, excellent opportunity. Since DeLorean is an iconic brand, everybody knows about it. The first question I would like to have, why did you buy the DeLorean brand?
When my business was growing at that period of time, and the vision that I had necessitated having all of the inventory and all of the brand to carry on. Although it was a vision internally, it was not something that I shared with other people because it was so far out there that it was part of my plan, and it had to be acquired.
I see. Very good. Second question is, can you talk about the issues and problems and opportunities you encountered in the whole process?
Oh, sure. From first of all negotiating the buy, which took probably to buy all the inventory. That took 2 years. Then coming up with the money took not so long. And then logistically, once we did buy all of the inventory, we inherited a warehouse in Columbus, Ohio, and my office was here in Texas. So running a large warehouse remotely, was a very challenging, time for me, and the dynamics of my business. If you figure that I went from having just a storefront repair shop like any other shop, about 3,500 square feet, to having a remote warehouse that was 65,000 square feet that I was trying to run and operate and organize. So the challenges were numerous.
Okay, very good. The comment I made before, and I shared the same comment with Cameron when we were driving, down to the DMC, and I'm going to read it, and this is where I read it somewhere, and some of these are my statements. Looks good from any angle. And every car is kind of a stallion.
Yeah.
It has its individuality.
Definitely.
How long this image can last?
Well, obviously, it's lasted 30 years now, so it's already stood the test of time. So now, it's in the history books. It's going to last. And obviously, other brands, especially car companies, they refresh the brand, they refresh the look of the car every 3 or 4 years because they want to stimulate the market.
Absolutely.
Because this silhouette and design has frozen, it's timeless now. It's going to go on.
Absolutely. Other question I have is, and I read it on the internet somewhere, and somebody asked you this question: if you had a conversation with Mr. DeLorean, can you just maybe revisit and just share with us what exactly you guys talked about and what was his reaction and how did you find him?
The conversations were from me about talking about going back into remanufacture and reassemble the cars, and was basically asking any advice, anything that he, what he thought about it, just to get an opinion. He was very receptive, and he was quite interested. He also was, do you know what you're getting into? It's not as simple as you think. There are many challenges ahead of you. But overall, he was extremely positive and had intended to come to visit me at this facility, but unfortunately he passed away before he was able to do that. So
when was that year you talked to him?
Oh God, the years I spoke to him probably was 03, 04.
I see.
I'm not sure when I think he passed away in 05.
2005, yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
During the course of 03 and 04 is the time that we had our conversations.
Mm-hmm. Other question I have is, we academics always look at business theories, concepts, and all these, and this is what we do research and study. So Henry Ford was known as a brilliant innovator. Very tough, extremely rigid in some areas, maybe ruthless. Henry Ford. And then we have Alfred Sloan. He was a unique manager. That's why they have named MIT School, Massachusetts MIT School of Management after Sloan School of Management. And when you talk about Lee Iacocca, the creator of, not Thunderbird, but
Chrysler.
not,
Well, he worked
yeah,
at Ford.
Ford, he created, Mustang. And so where do you put Mr. DeLorean in terms of if you apply the real world, his passion, his vision, because he was a visionary?
I think he was a maverick. He's credited with creating the Pontiac GTO, which was an iconic
Yes.
car for the day. And then, I've read up on lots of stuff, and I've talked to lots of people over the years who worked with and knew Mr. DeLorean personally, far better than I ever got to know him. And I think, he was. When he left GM, he was disappointed with the automotive
Yes.
industry.
Yes.
He predicted the GM bankruptcy. It just took 30 years to happen. But when he left, he had realized that that GM was a mess, and and needed to change, and there was no way to change it. So basically, for him, he broke away and decided to do his own ethical car company. And that was that's what how the DeLorean Motor Company came to be.
That's right. Wonderful. Okay, can you talk about a typical DeLorean customer last 20 years as of 2011 and in the next 5 years? Because we don't forecast in these days 10 years, those days are gone. Normally we go up to 5 years.
Yeah.
In what way the market is changing as far as consumers are concerned?
I would say for us, a lot of the baby boomer generation that you hear of are starting to get to the point where they have disposable income, and the DeLorean, having been part of their growing up, has always been around. It was out, then the company was gone, but then the movies have been here, so the car has been visible to these people, and these people are getting to a point in their life now that they want to treat themselves to something. And we find that a typical DeLorean customer is not your general gearhead, that's interested in hot rodding and things like that. They're just into the car, and it's not like they're thinking of buying a DeLorean or thinking about buying a Jag. It's buy a DeLorean or buy a condo or something like that. We're in quite a unique in that luxury segment. It's and then if you talk about the demographics of the people, it's really tough because they come from from kids to elderly people, genders, race. It seems to go across many borders. I would say the one common denominator is that they are technically literate. They're a computer literate. Because it's a car of the computer generation. So they get it. And that seems, and unfortunately for us, that is the segment of the consumer base that has disposable income.
Yes.
So that's nice.
Okay, very good. Other question I have is, so this electric car you plan on selling in 2013, is it a joint venture or an alliance, or you are just going to buy a motor, battery from the company you have contract with?
Right now, we haven't quite decided. Obviously, DeLorean Motor Company and Epic EV, we got together and we've developed the prototype, and we right now we're very happy with the relationship that we have. So going forward, whether they become a vendor or a partner or a joint venture, it's to be determined. That works out better for all hands is how we go forward.
Very good. And other question I have is, can you talk about its iconic image and any unique stories behind you came across and it still stays with you, somebody who shared the car's image, iconic image, brand issue, anything in the last 10 years?
Well, I just heard this story just 2 days ago because we had the local newspaper was here, and they're doing a feature story on the DeLorean. So we loaned the reporter a car for the day, and he drove around and he got the feel for it, and he comes back and he says, great, I got some great stories, great stuff. He says, you know, I could not believe the amount of people that came and talked to me. You pull into a gas station, you go through a drive-through, fantastic. He says, do you have any stories? So I asked my staff, and one of my staff came to me and said, here's one that I just heard over the weekend, and it was several years ago. But there's a customer of ours who owns a DeLorean and he lives in New Jersey. And he pulled up on the side of the road because he seen what he thought was a nice photo op for his car. So he pulls up, gets the car staged, is taking the picture. He hears a car pull up behind him and looks and sees it's some sort of an SUV. He's clicking away, taking the pictures. And the guy comes up behind him and says, man, that's a nice car. And he says, yeah, thanks. And he turned around and it was John DeLorean.
Oh, wow.
And his daughter.
Unbelievable.
Now, how cool is that?
Yes, yes. Interesting, interesting. Very good. Some of the major issues regarding maintaining the car, suggestions to consumers?
For people who are buying a DeLorean, my suggestion is to do lots of due diligence. Do not throw normal buying habits out the window because you get stick or you get fazed by the look of the car and you say it's great, I gotta have it. Have the car thoroughly inspected by a professional. All DeLoreans are not alike, but they all look alike.
Yes.
And the difference between a good DeLorean and a bad DeLorean is many tens of thousands. So people, do correct due diligence, look at lots of cars, do your research, and have it thoroughly inspected. As far as things with the car, which this is kind of ironic, the perpetual weakness of a DeLorean is the fact that it has a weak electrical system. So I've actually decided to take that challenge and add more electrics to the car. But we're actually revamping the whole electric system.
How about the doors, gull wings, do they still leak or they have been fixed?
No, the gull wing doors are pretty well sorted out now. That was just engineering and just time to figure out the correct adjustment procedure, and that's all been resolved many times over the years now.
So it came out of the Lotus family, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, any comments on that? Because the designer the Lotus owner, because there's a lot of information on the internet.
Yeah, well,
any stories, any
issues? Basically DeLorean contracted with Lotus to take the car from a prototype like what we're showing here with the electric and make it a production ready vehicle. And in some ideas that was a great idea, and some ideas it was a bad idea. Lotus do great products, but there are more DeLoreans on the road than there are Lotuses.
Yes.
So basically, as far as engineering, Lotus was fantastic, but manufacturing process, they were very weak, and that was one of the things that eventually, caused DeLorean a lot of problem, is that they were using a manufacturing assembly process that wasn't completely thought out for modern construction or assembly techniques.
Okay, very good. So what improvements you may like to see in the next 5 years? As you already touched base on this, but in addition to the electric car...
well, in addition, obviously we've developed the supercharger system for the normal powered cars with an internal combustion engine, which gives it more power, which has been a bone of contention. People have always wanted more power, so we've addressed that. Okay. Power steering is coming. And our plans for the future for the car evolve around the inside of the car. The outside of the car we're not changing. We're very happy with the silhouette and the appearance of the car, but the inside is going through a modernization process. The inside is showing its age. It's a bit dated. So that is on our target to improve upon.
I see. And do you have in-house facilities, or you outsource, or you talk to other people?
Most of that will be out. We'll use outsourced consultants to do the development work for us.
I see. And then last question is, so what lies ahead? This is an open-ended question. Can you share with us predictions, forecasting? In terms of growth, because the company has seen wonderful evolutionary growth, and we academics are always investigating why companies goes up and down. Just 10 years ago, Apple computer was only $15, and today it is over $400.
Yeah.
So that's where companies suddenly came up with a unique product, and Steve Jobs is gone, but his legacy still is
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
Any issues behind this?
Well, I've been in the DeLorean business now for 30 years. The first 10 years I did a 10-year business plan, and then for the second 10 years I did a 10-year business plan. And 50% of that worked, 50% of it didn't. So when it came to the third decade, I said, no more business plans, I'm going to run with it. So basically, for us, if the market likes what we're doing, we'll keep on producing. We are a for-profit corporation.
Yes.
So we have to listen to our consumers, and we're looking at what the trends are, and we follow the trends, and we gently show to our customers what we feel the trend is, and if they accept it, then we're going to be a success. And I'm not frightened to commit to it, but
Sure.
so EV, I think, is going to be big, and it may be the biggest thing ever for DeLorean. But also the evolution of the internal combustion side of the car with more modernized stuff like we've already talked about. Basically to carry on doing what I've been doing for the last 30 years, because it's been reasonably successful and people like it, and I've got a good feel for it. But we'll roll the dice on a few things every now and then and see. And obviously the EV program is one of those big gambles. We put a fair amount of resources into it.
Sure.
So we have to see what the market says now.
Okay. And this is how products evolve in their own evolutionary growth. And the other question is, students would like to know, and this is worldwide, you are a successful entrepreneur. You also had a vision which it has been operationalized. What do you suggest to those students who may like to maybe self-employed? What are the three most important things to be a successful entrepreneur? Because it is so competitive to find a niche.
I think honesty and integrity, and it's half and half for them. Having an idea that you're going to stick to and you're going to follow through with it, and be open to options. Don't be so closed-minded that it's your way or no way. Always get your own way in the end, but be flexible. So stick with the idea and be honest along the way. Don't take the shortcut. The shortcut never pays off.
Sure.
That's what I feel.
Yes, that's very good. Any other issues, comments which I did not cover? Because it's a never-ending topic. People fall in love with their products, especially iconic products.
Yeah.
And the products become part of their personalities.
Well, one thing that we sort of didn't talk about is along the way over the last 4 or 5 years, we've added our franchise stores.
Yes.
So, we have 4 franchises
Yes.
in the US, and we have 1 in Amsterdam for the European market.
Yes.
And they've played a very important part of keeping us out there where we're doing a better job of servicing the cars. My background obviously is service orientated.
Sure.
So it's always been my plan that if you live in America, you can have your car shipped within a day to a dedicated service facility, so as we can service what we sell.
Okay.
It's no good selling products that people can't get fixed.
Sure.
So that's always been a very important part of my business plan.
Okay. That's
Is after sales service.
After sales service, yeah. So that's where the business model is there, and that brings also a very good foundation. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all your time. And we love the car, and millions of people have seen it, and it's a global icon in many areas. But thank you, and we will stay in touch.
Well, as the old marketing slogans for DeLorean is, live the dream, and that's what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you again.